Hi guys, it's Christy, and I'm going to be sharing the first quarter recap of my 2018 reading goals. So this year I decided to make reading a priority after realizing how few books I read last year, and I found that this was really affecting my spirit for writing. One, I felt disconnected from the reading community, and two, I felt like I couldn't really trust myself to make important writing decisions because my brain wasn't in its best shape. Now I, like I'm sure many of you, was making the excuse that I just didn't have enough time in my day, and what little time I did have, I really wanted to focus on my writing. And I've done a video on that topic, so if it's posted already, I'll be sure and link it below. But for 2018, I decided to set myself a very realistic goal of 10 books. The number is a bit embarrassing, but I have to admit I am a slow reader. You know when you realize that you've reread a paragraph like 5 times? That's definitely me. I also like to read kind of out loud, if that makes sense, only it's in my mind. And I find that I like to have different voice narrators for different characters, or maybe I'll have one voice that's a narrator for just the entire book. But, you know, you can imagine that this kind of slows my reading down quite a bit. Speaking of which, has anyone ever associated like an actor to a specific character when they're reading? If you haven't, you should try it because it can really make the reading process a lot more enjoyable. So anyway, I set my reading goal in March, so I was a bit late to the year, but I found that surprisingly once I set my goal, I blew through 4 books in that month of March. And so even though the first quarter is over, I'm already 40% of the way to my goal. I believe that setting that goal really kicked my competitive side in, and now I'm just really excited and I feel like a crazy reader. I'm just so anxious to keep reading and go on to the next book. So the books I completed in this quarter were the Abandoned series by Meg Cabot. This helped because I was really invested in the series, and I find that a lot of times when you do really get invested in a series, you're able to kick out more books in a shorter amount of time. And then I also read The Power of Positivity by Andrian Teodoro, I believe is how you pronounce his name, hopefully. I've done book reviews of these, so if they're up already, I'll be sure and link them below. If not, stay tuned. So after the first quarter, I decided that I wanted to break up the remaining books into categories so that I could be sure and diversify my reading. So here's what I came up with: 5 fiction and 5 nonfiction. So out of the nonfiction books, I want to read 1 poetry anthology, 2 books on writing, and 2 personal development books. Grouping them into categories has been really helpful for me. I find that I used to try and fit different kinds of books, but it was kind of like, you know, before bed, for example, I only ever wanted to read fiction, and then these nonfiction books that I really did want to make time to read, I just didn't have that time. And so what I decided to start doing was just read 1 book at a time, regardless of the genre, regardless of the subject. I'm just going to read 1 book at a time, and that's been really helpful for me so far, so we'll see how it goes. And as far as the fiction category, I decided that I really want to fit more of the contemporary genre into my reading. That's actually the genre that I'm writing in right now, so I feel like it'll be really good practice for me. And I'm really interested to start reading more poetry. I feel like poetry just really helps those writing muscles, those prose muscles in your brain to just develop more beautiful language as you're writing. So The Power of Positive Energy that I read this quarter counts towards my 2 personal development books, and I'm in the middle of reading 2 books on writing. So books on writing for me, I don't really read them from start to finish. I sort of pick them up and skim through them as I find them necessary. So we'll see if that strategy sort of changes, but yeah, I'm in the middle of 2 of them right now. So as far as my goal of 10 books this year, I definitely think I'm going to surpass that number, but I'm going to keep my goal at 10. That way I can see what my success rate was at the end of the year. I think it'd be cool if it was like, you know, 200% or whatever. So I think that'll be really fun. So does anyone else set reading goals for themselves? I'm really anxious to see how many books on average other people read. Is 10 books a year a realistic number? Too little? Too many? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I make new videos every week. And until next time, bye.